Hi friends, imagine being trapped here for over 430 days. This is the true story of the man who did the impossible. The Pacific Ocean, vast, merciless, and unforgiving. For most, it is a place of danger, but for one man, it became his prison and his only chance at survival.
Is this the end? After all this time, after everything, why won't you let me see her face just one more time?
In November 2012, Salvador Alvarenga, an experienced fisherman, set out from the tiny fishing town of Costa Azul, Mexico. He had no idea his journey would make him a living legend. The vessel was just a 23-foot fiberglass boat built for short trips near the coast, never for the deep ocean. Beside him was a young crewmate, Ezekiel Cordoba, a rookie fisherman, barely 22, eager to learn, unaware of the fate awaiting them. Their mission was simple: catch sharks and small fish, but the Pacific had other plans. Within hours, a brutal storm struck. Winds howled, waves towered, and their tiny boat was tossed like a toy. The storm destroyed their radio, cutting off all contact. No distress call, no way back. Two men stranded in the middle of the Pacific. There was nothing but the sea around them. Day after day, the horizon remained empty. No ships, no land, just endless water. Food ran out quickly. Their survival depended on instinct and desperation. They caught fish with their hand, tore them apart raw, and swallowed just to stay alive. When birds landed on their boat, they became food. Feathers ripped away, raw flesh eaten, blood drunk to quench thirst. Rain was their lifeline. Each drop meant another day to live. Without it, death was certain. But Cordoba struggled. His young stomach could not handle the raw diet of fish and birds. He refused food and weakened. After weeks at sea, Cordoba fell gravely ill. His body shriveled, his spirit broke. On a quiet morning, the young man took his last breath. Salvador was now completely alone. Alone on a boat, with no compass, no food, no hope. For Salvador, despair was a shadow he fought every single day. Isolation twisted his mind. He hallucinated voices, saw phantom ships, dreamed of family he thought he'd never see again. But the ocean was not empty. Sharks circled beneath him, one wrong move, and he would be dragged under. He fought daily to stay alive. Fish, turtles, seabirds, whatever he could catch became his next meal. The sun was merciless, his skin blistered, his lips cracked. He drank turtle blood just to fight dehydration. Nights brought no comfort. Cold winds and darkness pressed against his spirit. Yet, he endured. 1 month became 2. 2 became 6. And still, the ocean carried him deeper into nowhere. With no gear left, he became an innovator. Hooks made from nails, nets from torn fabric. His boat became a floating survival lab. His body weakened, but his will grew stronger. A primal determination to defy death itself. When rain came, he danced. Fresh water meant life. Each storm was both a curse and a blessing. Days blended into weeks. Weeks into months. The sea tested every limit of human endurance. He prayed each night, sometimes for rescue, sometimes simply for strength to wake up the next morning. Hunger forced him into unthinkable choices: eating rotten meat, drinking foul water. The line between survival and madness blurred. Unknowingly, he drifted over 6,000 miles across the Pacific Ocean, carried by currents and fate. Another storm nearly finished him. Winds tore away what little remained of his supplies. Yet, he clung to life. His body screamed for mercy, but he refused to surrender. Sharks never left him, always circling, always watching. The hunter was being hunted. By now, he had been adrift for nearly a year, a full year lost at sea. His survival defied reason. He dreamed of family meals, of laughter, of land. But each time he woke, only waves surrounded him. Then, a sign. Birds. He knew they never flew far from land. His heart pounded. Could land finally be near? On the horizon, a shadow, an island, his salvation. With the last of his strength, he rowed. Hours turned into a desperate battle against waves. At last, after 438 days at sea, he touched land. The Marshall Islands had saved him. Islanders found him, frail and barely alive, a ghost of a man who had fought the impossible. Doctors were stunned. Severe dehydration, malnutrition. Yet somehow, his heart still beat strong. The world called it a miracle. 438 days lost at sea, the longest known survival drift in history. His story spread like wildfire. Was it even possible? Many doubted. Scientists began to investigate. Oceanographers confirmed it. The currents, the storms, the food he ate, it was all possible. His ordeal was real. When he finally embraced his family again, the nightmare was over. He had returned from a world no man was meant to survive. But the ocean had left scars, memories that would never fade. The Pacific tested him. It broke his body, but it could not break his will. Even now, he admits, the ocean still calls to him, both as a nightmare and as the stage of his greatest triumph. Salvador Alvarenga, the man who drifted 438 days and lived to tell the tale. Proof that even in the deadliest prison on earth, the human will to survive can outlast the impossible. He had lost nearly half his body weight. Every muscle had withered, yet somehow his spirit endured. His first meals on land were tiny portions. After 438 days of raw fish and bird blood, even simple rice felt overwhelming. When he saw his family again, disbelief gave way to tears. For them, he'd been dead. For him, they were the dream that kept him alive. But peace was short-lived. The world's media descended on him like a storm. Everyone wanted answers. How did you survive? Did you eat your crewmate? Is this even real? The questions grew darker and more relentless. Doubt spread quickly. Could any human truly endure such a journey? Experts began to test his story against the ocean's currents. The evidence was clear. Carried by storms and tides, a drifting boat could indeed travel thousands of miles, just as he had described. Biologists confirmed his diet was plausible. Birds, turtles, fish, even plankton. The Pacific was harsh but not empty. But one truth haunted the story. Cordoba never returned. His death at sea remained a painful wound that the world could not ignore. Accusations swirled. Some believed he had lied, others suspected cannibalism. Alvarenga denied it all, holding firmly to his truth. Years later, Cordoba's family filed a lawsuit, claiming he had allowed the boy to die. The survivor became both hero and villain. Fame weighed heavy. Cameras vanished, but nightmares remained. He could not escape the ocean inside his mind. Every night, he relived the 438 days. The hunger, the storms, the silence. His body survived, but his mind never left the boat. To release the burden, he told his story. A book would be written, a record of endurance few could believe. 438 days, the world read his story in awe. What once seemed impossible was now etched into history. Experts compared his endurance to other castaways, but none came close. Salvador Alvarenga had set the ultimate survival record. Robinson Crusoe was fiction. Poon Lim, the sailor who survived 133 days in Wii, was legend. But 438 days? This was beyond legend. Yet the sea never left him. He confessed he sometimes sat for hours just listening to the waves, caught between fear and longing. His body bore the marks: sunburned skin, damaged eyesight, aching joints. Every cell was a memory of survival. Scientists marveled. He had crossed one of the harshest stretches of ocean on Earth, surviving where 99 out of 100 would perish. Psychologists studied him too. Extreme isolation, starvation, hallucinations. His mind had endured what few humans could withstand. In time, he shared his experience with others, warning of the sea's cruelty, but also teaching resilience and hope. His survival was not luck. It was instinct, grit, and a refusal to die. Against the ocean's wrath, he held on. He had drifted unseen, while giant ships passed miles away. Rescue was always near, yet impossibly far. The Marshall Islands became a symbol of salvation. To its people, he was the castaway who appeared from nowhere, like a ghost from the sea. But in his heart, he carried grief for the young man who had not survived, for a life lost to the ocean's cruelty. He admitted he spoke to Cordoba's spirit during those lonely months just to stay sane. Even after rescue, those conversations lingered. The same ocean that tried to kill him had also carried him to life. A paradox he would never fully understand. Experts called him one of the toughest survivors of all time. Not by choice, but by fate. From Mexico to the Marshall Islands, nearly 6,700 miles, one of the longest solo drifts ever recorded. Back home, even a shared meal became sacred. Bread, soup, rice, each bite was a celebration of life. Yet storms still haunted his dreams. The crash of waves, the cries of wind, his mind replayed them endlessly. He credited faith for his survival, a belief that someone or something kept him alive for a reason. But lawsuits returned, pulling him back into darkness. Survival made him famous, but fame made him a target. The world debated, was he a hero, or had he failed the boy who trusted him? At times, he withdrew entirely. Fame had saved him financially, but robbed him of peace. Still, his story inspired fishermen worldwide, a reminder of the sea's danger and the will to survive against all odds. He became a storyteller, passing on lessons of patience, endurance, and hope to younger generations. For him, the ocean was no longer just water. It was life and death, a place of horror and salvation.
The ocean gave me life, and it almost took it away.
438 days, nearly 15 months, each day a battle against madness, hunger, and despair. Every survival trick, every desperate choice brought him one step closer to the impossible. His boat, now gone, was both his coffin and his ark of salvation. The Pacific is Earth's deadliest wilderness, yet one man crossed it without map, motor, or sail. Survival experts teach endurance in weeks. He endured for over a year. His ordeal rewrote the limits of human possibility. Years later, his greatest treasure was not fame, but the simple gift of time with loved ones. Every wave carried a memory. Every tide whispered of the 438 days he spent in its grip. He walks the shore today, not as a victim, but as a man who conquered the unconquerable. His name became a legend. His story, a testament. Salvador Alvarenga, the man who defied the Pacific. And so the question remains, was it luck, faith, or sheer willpower? Perhaps all three. But one truth endures. The human spirit is stronger than the sea. If you found this story interesting, share your thoughts in the comments. And tell me which true event you'd like to see next. I work hard to bring you original, well-researched stories that reveal the truth behind history's most mysterious events. Don't forget to subscribe so you'll be notified the moment a new story drops. Because these are not just tales, they're real events that deserve to be known. Let's make sure these true stories, nekaes to us, and the lessons they carry, reach more people. Share this video, spread the truth, and I'll see you in the next mystery.